Hi there guys, another review from a product from Banggood. I got this Christmas tree, it arrived yesterday. Today I assembled it and I had some issues. As you can see, I soldered the LEDs on the opposite side. It's the same, just have to be careful that so that you don't short circuit here, but you can solder them on the opposite side and it gets neater because you can later mount them on a perforated board. Once again, I had some issues assembling this. First issue was with this switch. You have to be very careful about this switch because it has 6 poles and the board only has 5 wires. You can see here. The switch is a double switch, but only one of the sides is working, so I had to find out which. You will have to use a multimeter. This side here is the one that's working, this side is not working, so you have to use a multimeter to see which one is working. And on the non-working side, please bend the middle pin so you can, or cut it, so in order that you can plug it into the board and solder it as I did here. Next thing, I plugged this to the power. I even tried to use the 12 volts jack and it didn't work at all. Nothing lit up. I thought it was something I messed up. So, but when I looked at it, I couldn't find any broken tracks, any short circuits, nothing. It just wouldn't start up, nothing. I think either probably something about the capacitors or the transistors or something like that. Either way, you're not in trouble if that happens to you. I even prefer it this way because these LEDs are great because they have a microchip inside, they are RGB and they change colors on a predefined rhythm, and that that rhythm is not the same for every LED. So if you see here, I've removed almost all resistors and capacitors and transistors. They're over there. And if you look at here, I short-circuited. I just put a jumper between the emitter and the collector of every transistor. This will, in fact, if you look at the scheme, at the diagram on the Banggood page, you'll see that it will short the transistor out and will connect the LEDs directly to power. And you'll start thinking that the tree won't blink. That's not true actually. If you see here, I only left 4 resistors. Those are the ones that are in series with the LEDs. And what happens here is that everything gets connected in series and to the power supply. The only thing you have to change is just do not put any of the capacitors, any of the transistors, and put only R1 to R4. It's R2, R1, R3, R4, the ones that are in series with the LEDs, and shunt every emitter and collector on the transistor. Only the end pins have to be shorted. Okay, do not short the base one. Even though if you do, that's not a problem because they're not connected. So does this work? Yes, it does. This is a 9-volt battery. You'll get better results with 12 volts. So if you put it in DC, you see, I'll turn off the light here. Remember, this is a battery. They start, I'll just remember they're on the opposite side, just disconnecting them, connect again. If you see, they start the same rhythm, the same position, but then they start to phase out one from another and you get this neat effect, and this is enough. I think the charging circuit blocks out some of these sequences because it doesn't give the circuits time, and I think this is enough. And Banggood should have done a simpler circuit. I know it's nicer to start alternating as soon as you plug it in, but this will do fine and just great, and it will be a much simpler circuit, and it will save you lots of power, especially if you're using batteries. If I connect this to a 12 volts DC power supply, it will work even brighter and it will be just enough. So back to the board. If you see here, I soldered them, as I said, on the opposite side. I'll turn on the lights so that you can see. If you see below, you see the middle pin of each transistor is in fact disconnected. nothing to it. Well, that one has a bit of solder, but this is enough. So I wish I had a template in order to perforate something and put this tree with a through cardboard or something like that, but I will try to do that later. Either way, this is a great kit. These are great LEDs and they blink all alone. You don't need a charging circuit. Just order yourself some, and if you have any questions, just use the comments area.